All right, and we are back here. Let's go with what are we doing here? We are doing colors 1.2. Colors, we're going to do 1.2.1. And then if it's not taking up too much time, I'll do one of the flags for you. Probably do the French flag because that's the most annoying one. So here we go. Fills and borders. Change the shape's color. Use the optional fill argument like so. So we have our rectangle 50, 50, 100, 100. But if we don't want a black rectangle, we just say fill equals green. And there it is. We could change this to blue. Oops. We could change this to gold. We could change this to red. Okay. So if you want to change the color of a shape, you need to put fill, lowercase f, fill equals, and then the name of a color. Now, if you're using a name of a color, there are other ways to put colors in. But if you're using a name of a color, it must be in quotes. It must be in quotes. It must be in quotes. You cannot just throw in red here. If you throw in red, oh no, you messed up. Name red is not defined. That's because red, they're looking for like a program here, and we don't have a program called red, so we need to put red in quotes, and then it finds the color for us. Okay? So please put it in quotes. Put the color in quotes. All right. So here we go. Let's do a little checkpoint action here. Reset my checkpoint. All right, so the code in the editor has an error. Fix it so that it draws a 100 by 100 square in the center of the canvas. So that's what we need. This is what we have. Oh, man, what's going on here? So we're going to come over here and figure it out. So rectangle, 150, 150, 100, 100. That looks fine. And then we have green. We need fill equals in front of it. Fill equals. Make sure you have fill equals in front of it. If you just have the color green, it's not going to do anything at all. Fill equals green. And now we're good. Okay. Check it. It says congratulations. Go back to your notes. Checkpoint number 2. Okay, let me reset this one. Checkpoint number 2. The code in the editor has an error. Fix it so it draws a 100 by 100 brown. So this is what we have, and this is our issue. So come over here. What's the issue? What do you see? We have rectangle, fill equals brown. Okay, hey, there's a problem. We don't have it in quotes. Duh. There we go, right? Run, we're finished. No. These numbers have to come first. These numbers are required for the rectangle to be created. This fill is optional. You could not have fill, it'll just color it in black. But if you miss any of these numbers, it literally cannot make what you are trying to make. So I am going to cut this out, Control X. And I'm going to throw it in the back, make sure there is a comma after that 100, Control V, paste it in. Now we got rectangle 150, 150, 100, 100, fill equals brown in quotes, and there it is. Okay. Drawing order. Order matters. Okay. What you draw first, or not what you draw, what you code first is going to go in the back. Okay. The second is going to go in front.
Mrs. Weaver, please call the office. Mrs. Weaver, please call the office.
So if I make a blue rectangle here at 100, 100, there will be a blue rectangle show up here, and it's going to be sitting on top of this lime green one, which is sitting on top of the orange. Okay? I could keep going on and on and on till my heart's content. But the lower the code is, the more on top your shape is going to be. Okay. Moving on here. Checkpoint 3. Oh, this one's a pain in the butt. That's all right. Let's do this. So, my canvas, we have nothing. We have to create the entire thing. First thing we need to do is we need to create the background. Okay. Eventually, we're going to find a code that can create the background for us. But for now, we're just going to make it a rectangle that goes from 0, 0 to 400, 400, and we're going to color it light salmon. So here we go. Line 6, it goes 0, 0, 400, 400. I know that because it starts up here at 0, 0. It goes over 400 pixels, and it goes down 400 pixels. It covers the entire thing. Then I'm going to do a fill equals light salmon, light salmon, light salmon. Run it. And there we go. So that is number 1. Now we have to go there, there, and there. So they want you to do it down on line 10. If you continue on line 7 and push your way down, that's fine too. But since they want us to do it on line 10, that's what I'll do. So I'm going to start with this one because it is the next going towards the back. So I have a rectangle, and this starts at 40, 20. Then it goes over to 200, but 200 minus 40 is 160. Man, that M again. And then it comes down here. So I know that you can't really see the actual corner, but you can follow these lines to this dot here. And this has a Y value of 180, but we started at 20. So 180 minus 20 is also 160. And then we're going to do a fill of Dodger blue. Run it. Beautiful. All right, now we just got to do these next 2 as well. So hit enter, and this is rectangle starting at 120, 100. Then it goes over to 280 and down to 300. So 280 minus 120 is 160. And then 300 minus 100 is 200. And then this is a fill of light green. I'll run it. So far, so good. Let's get one more, and that is this guy down here. So once again, a rectangle, RECT. This one starts at 200, 220, and comes down to 360, 380. So 360 minus 200 is 160. 380 minus 220 is also 160. And this fill is Dodger blue. Run it. There it is. Check. This one is very, very easy to make a mistake, so please take your time with this checkpoint. Very, very easy to make mistakes here. All right. Let's go back. No, stop it. Let's go back to the notes. So checkpoint 3, done. Now borders. Okay. So right now, if we go back into here, these are just solid shapes. There's no border around it. Well, now we are going to do borders. Borders can definitely be very useful. Rectangles may have an optional border like so, blah, blah, blah. Border equals blue. And if you click that, there you go. Now you have a blue border. You could do border equals red. And then it turns into a red border. Border equals black. Turns it into a black border. Okay. Come on down here. By default, borders are 2 pixels wide. So if you have a border width of 2, then you could just kind of keep it there, and you don't have to actually do anything with border width. But if you have a border width that is more than 2 or less than 2, you need to put this code in here. Border width equals whatever border width you need. So this, as you can tell, it's a lot thicker. If I went back to just 2, there you go. It's nice and thin. If I go to 1, that's even thinner. You could even do like 0.5 or something, make it even thinner. Okay. Or you could go crazy and do like a 25. Okay. So borders can be manipulated in a couple ways. First we have is the color, and then we have the width. So checkpoint 4, let's check this out. All right, step 1 of 6, click on the rectangle with a navy fill, which is dark, and a 2 pixel cyan border, which is light. So navy fill is either this one, or this one. 2 pixel is pretty thin. We're going to click on this one. Navy fill and a 10 pixel cyan border. That'd be this guy. Cyan fill with a 10 pixel navy. This guy. Cyan fill with no border up here. Cyan fill with 2 pixel navy right here. And a navy with no border. There it is. All right, now dashes. Dashes are when you want a border, but you don't want it to be a solid line. So if we do that, we get something that looks like this. It kind of has that look of like maybe a coupon or something, you know, that you have to cut it out, and that's what you're supposed to follow. So that's the vibe I get from it. So the way you do that is you do dashes equals true. Do I want dashes? Yes. So that's true. True is something called Boolean, and we'll talk about that later. Boolean is something that's either true or false. When you write true, make sure it is not in quotes. Do not put true in quotes. And always make sure that true or false, whichever one you're doing, is capitalized. So here we go down here. Usually use dashes equals true. However, we can kind of mess with the width and the dash width and the gap width. So here we have dashes 1, 4. That means each dash is 1 pixel wide, and there are 4 pixels in between each dash. So if I made this for something like 20, these pixels, these dashes will stay the same, but the gap in between will get a lot bigger. Okay? Or I could do 20, 1. So the dashes will be really long and the gaps will be really small. Okay? So there are a couple options there that you can manipulate your borders with your dashes. And here, empty fills. We can make a rectangle and have nothing in it. If all we need is the border, that is what we can do. So here we have fill equals none. So this none, make sure when you put it in, no quotes, and it has to be capital. Fill equals none, but the border is going to be blue, and it's going to be a border width of 6. So we have an empty rectangle, but we can still put a border around that emptiness, and this border happens to be a fill of 6, a width of 6. Come down here. This becomes clear if we include another rectangle. So I'm going to click on this, and you'll see another rectangle behind the empty rectangle with the border. Okay. Keep on coming. What do we got here? We have. Oh yeah. So this is without a fill. And this is with a white fill. So with a white fill, it will take out, it will not allow you to see the shape underneath. Without a fill will allow you to see the shape underneath. So white and empty definitely do not mean the same thing. All right, checkpoint 5. All right, click on the rectangle with a fill of white. Okay. Click on the rectangle with a fill of none. I messed up. Was that it? I feel like I messed that up, but oh well. All right, here we go. Default values. We just learned that fill, border, and border width are optional arguments. All right, these are things that you don't need to put onto a rectangle or any other shape, but you can if you want, which hence the term optional. If we do not supply an optional argument, it uses default value. Default fill is black. Default border is none, and the default border width is 2. Okay, so here we go. Let's do this flag real quick, and then I'm going to head home because I'm tired. So we want to make a French flag with a black border all the way around. What we are going to do is we're going to put in a blue rectangle, a red rectangle. We're going to leave this white one alone because that's actually, believe it or not, there's nothing there. And then we're going to put in a large rectangle with a fill of none and put a border around it to create the border around the entire flag. So here we go. First, let's make the blue rectangle. I guess this is technically navy. So rectangle 50, 100. And then it comes down here to 150, 300. So that goes over 100 pixels. And it goes down 200 pixels. And this fill equals navy. Our next one is over here. We are going to fill this in with crimson. So rectangle. This is 250 and 100. And it comes down to 350, 300. So once again, that's a 100, 200. And we are going to fill, like I said, with crimson. Crimson. So let's see what we got so far. Beautiful. Now all we need to do is put a border around the entire thing. So we do rectangle, RECT. This starts at 50 and 100, just like the rectangle on line 5. Then this ends at 350 and 300. So 350 minus 50 is 300. 300 minus 100 is 200. This fill equals none, capital N, no quotes, N-O-N-E. And then this has a border. Border equals black. And then border width of 5. Border width. Now, when you do border width, make sure it's all one word and the W is capitalized. And then the 5 does not need to be in quotes. So if I run that, there it is. It's beautiful. Check it, and it's good to go. All right, and that's where I'm going to end with this one. Once again, make sure you take your time. Make sure that you are double checking everything that you're doing, making sure you have all your commas, your capitalization is right, your spelling is right. Because you get even one small thing wrong, you're going to get an error on your project and you're going to get frustrated. So just make sure that everything is spelled right. You have all your commas in place. You have things that should be in quotes or in quotes, things that should not be in quotes or not in quotes, stuff like that. So, all right. Thank you very much. And we will do 1.2.3 next time. Thanks.